I want to introduce Eileen, Chief Data Officer, United States Air Force. She started her life as an enlisted member of the US Army and then has worked through various positions of leadership up into the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and culminating as the Chief of Staff for the Assistant DNI for Human Capital. In 2012, she was selected to serve as the Department of Defence Intelligence Community Enterprise Architect. 2016, she was selected as the White House Leadership Fellow. And when you look up on LinkedIn, someone has written, I worked with Eileen at the ODNI and was consistently impressed with her passion and dedication to excellence. So it feels like it's going to be a fantastic talk. So please welcome Eileen remotely.
Over 2.5 years, and I always begin by saying it is my honor to serve this amazing group of airmen and guardians. The Department of the Air Force now is a two-service military department with both air and space forces, and the men and women that serve are just extraordinary. So to have the opportunity to lead this group has just really been the highlight of my career. So this morning, and I almost said this evening because it is for us, I wanted to really just share our journey, because I like to say that we are a startup in a very mature organization. And like my speaker before me talked about how startups need to show value and drive results. That is really part of the journey that we've been on at the very beginning. So I like to say that our mission is fueling data innovation within our department, but it's really about empowering each and every airman and guardian in our department the ability to drive data insights. I like to say that data needs to be part of every airman and guardian's core DNA. So we started as a true startup in an organization, and we became IOC in June 2020. My position serves directly for the Undersecretary, but I work with my colleagues in the Chief Management Office as well as the Chief Information Office. I like to say that we're true partners, trusted partners in each and every action that we do. This is just a snapshot of my team, and I wanted to show that it is a combination of military and civilians, really both active and reserve military, that really are working across our department at both the tactical and strategic level. And as a startup, we really have really been on the journey to get our organizational structure right. But I like to say that we really have focused on 4 key areas. The first one is strategy and governance, really establishing the first policy and governance construct to support our 2 services within our department. We actually have data officers appointed in every major command and field activity across our department. And together, we really work as a cohesive unit to really drive innovation, both, I would say, strategic down and tactical up. And just earlier this year, I worked with my partners in the other military departments, Tom Cicela at the Department of Navy, and first Greg Garcia and now Dave Markwitz at the Department of the Army. And together, under the leadership of David Spurk, who's the Department of Defense CDO, we co-authored the first Department of Defense data strategy, where we work together as a group to clearly define our strategic goals, our enabling capabilities, and so that we can work not just as a military department, but really as an entire multiple 5 military services synchronized working together. And I think that is really important for me to make sure that I highlight the work that we have done together. And just recently, we published our first implementation plan of our data strategy. So I would like to say we have a national defense strategy, we have a data strategy that supports it, And then each military department publishes an implementation plan to operationalize that vision. In addition to working on strategy and governance, which can be quite the opportunity, we have really focused on our data services line of effort, really having using our governance constructs to actually build our data catalog, our metadata catalog, so that our airmen and guardian know where the data is, what it is, and how to gain access to it. We began with a data maturity assessment model. Last year, under the Federal Data Strategy Action Plan, which was published by the United States Office of Management and Budget, each agency or military department was to publish a data maturity model, but my airmen and guardians always push. And so it wasn't enough for them to do a model, but they actually completed the baseline assessment. And now they're actually focusing on core areas to actually mature out that data. Another piece that I think is very important when you have a startup is there's great work that's being done across your office and our department. And I didn't want to stop those individual efforts, but now that we're maturing as a military department, we are now really focusing on converging, what I call the convergent strategy. And that's really taking the best capabilities that have been test piloted across our Air Force and really maturing those out to become not just a capability to support an individual, but to have it be a department enterprise level solution that every major commander field activity can exercise and leverage. And that really helps our smaller organizations that are leanly manned, because they can spend their time making data actionable rather than trying to build infrastructure to support that. One of the other big capabilities that we did was we actually set up a data lab, and it is based on Andrews Air Force Base. But I would say post-COVID, it's pretty much all, most of this work is being done all across our bases. And really it's a touch point or an innovation hub where any airman or guardian can actually tap into our organization and get assistance to learn how to not just how to do a data science use case, but actually get some technical assistance. So if I have a small organization that has a challenge that has an enterprise level impact, they can actually really phone a friend or Teams a friend or Zoom a friend or whatever their favorite collaboration tool of the day is, and get real-time access to experts that they may not necessarily have as matrix support moving forward. And so to date, over the last 24 months ago, we have done probably 30 plus use cases that have enterprise level focus. And now several of them are being scaled out to what I call scale to the last mile to truly be enterprise solutions moving forward. But I think the thing that I'm most proud of the Data Lab is any airman at any level can put in a problem and really ask for help. And it's really a team effort to really see the goodness that can happen when we work collaboratively together to make data available, accurate, and actionable. A key point of this is really to, we needed to have what I would call a common data platform, a self-service platform to help our airmen and guardian. So one of the very first things I did was work with a lean team to move a capability to the cloud. In the Department of Defense, you will hear a term called VaultIS or VaultIS, which stands for Visible, Accessible, Understandable, Linked, Trustworthy, Interoperable, and Secure. It's a mouthful, but the reality is those are the 7 strategic goals that each and every airman and guardian is working towards on any data project that they're doing. And so what we did was we built the Vault Data Platform as a self-service model in the cloud to provide reliable, repeatable, current state tools in a secure environment so that they could actually make data accessible and actionable at the enterprise level from anywhere. When I look at Vault IS and I look at the Vault concept, I really talk about three key pieces: data, tools, and services, indexing and exposure. But the last piece, which is most important, is our analytics partnerships. I like to tell my team that data is a team sport and we don't do this alone. And so it's really important that we build these change champions across our department to help us really tell what I call the data journey. And so whether it's our partnership with our artificial intelligence accelerator at MIT in Cambridge, Massachusetts, or whether it's a major command, whether it's the installation management group down in San Antonio, or a cyber wing someplace at an alternate location, they bring these challenges to us, and we work together to make data available, accurate, and actionable with them. So it's really about taking the data scientist, the data architect, and that functional expert, and together we really tackle some of the hardest problems. And pre-COVID, one of the biggest things that I used to encourage my data scientists to do was actually, I like to say, take the geek to the mission. We would send them to the runway to look at data in action so that they could understand the context of what they were working on, because that is a critical component. It's not just about the data, it's about accurate data that has the right context. And we didn't want to lose that piece. So partnering them with the functional experts really has been game changing and has actually given us an acceleration of some of our use cases moving forward. When I look at this journey, we really, I came in summer of 2018, and I literally, as a startup, pushed my team to show capability development over 30, 60, 90-day windows. And so we went from having no cloud enterprise solution to an impact level 4 non-classified solution with primarily open source tools. Today, we have a multi-tenancy cross-domain solution that goes up to classified levels and with multiple tool sets, not just open source, but when necessary, proprietary tools. That 1 or 2 business partnerships that we established in our infancy stages has now grown over 60%, or up to 60 different partnerships, many different use cases. But we used to have hundreds of users, and now we have thousands of users logging on each and every day. I like to, a lot of my leadership want dashboards, and they look at dashboards. And when we started with just a handful of dashboards, and now we have a couple thousand visualizations and dashboards, I like to say hashtag built by airmen and guardians, because they are really the engine, the hidden superpower behind our organization. I think that the other big piece that really helped us on our journey was we embraced infrastructure as code from the beginning. And that was game changing for us, because as people pushed to remote work about a year ago, and people needed to work more securely from various locations, having a cloud-ready capability ready to go on day one, really the demand went up. And because we embraced infrastructure as code at the very beginning, we were able to support 10 times the original population with no additional staff added to my team. And when I briefed that to my senior leadership, that we have such tremendous growth, but no additional support team requirement, I think that was really game changing in terms of trying to partner with various organizations. Today, with infrastructure as code, we can onboard a new organization in a minute, in pretty much in a couple of hours. And that is not the normal ops tempo for the average IT system that we grew up with. And so I'm pretty proud of my team that they were very innovative and agile to really push the environment and really meet the demands of their fellow guardians and airmen. Today, this is just a snapshot of some of the many tools that we have, because we are still on a journey in terms of bringing stuff in. The one thing that I will say is just about every tool that we have added into our toolbox has come from an airman or guardian that had a mission need, that was looking at how do I safely and securely bring this new capability, many times a commercial off-the-shelf product that had never been deployed in sometimes secure environments within our boundary ever. And to be able to work with our acquisition colleagues to work the acquisition packet at the same time that we're working the security paperwork or our packet to, do the successful pen tests and et cetera, to make sure that we are really providing a secure, safe environment when we're bringing in these tool sets. That has also been game changing, because today we have actually brought tools in where we signed a contract on Friday, and on Saturday morning, people had new capability on our platform. And that is not all, that is not the speed of relevant, it's at the speed of relevancy, but it's really different than how I traditionally grew up, when we needed a new tool and there was kind of a pause. And the fact that we can respond so quickly with but with a very small but agile, lean team is something that it's very exciting, but it also is something that leadership has really embraced in terms of agile development, secure DevOps, containerization. How do we continue to push faster, higher return on investment? Because in our public sector, we're not always looking at how much revenue we generate, but we are always looking at trying to be great stewards of our US taxpayer investment. So if we look at how I brief my senior leadership is, we sometimes will talk about the Maslow's hierarchy of tech needs. And we begin by saying that if we want to get to AI and machine learning at the speed of relevancy, we really need to make sure that we get significant pieces together. And having meaningful data is a really critical component on it. It's an investment, because if I can take that piece with the right apps to the fight and my digitally savvy airmen and guardians, it is a game changer. And today, that we have made investments in all of those components, but I think I'm most proud about investing in the future of our digital airmen and guardians. Many of them today, they've grown up digital, they expect this, but we know that it's a commitment to lifelong learning. So that's another place where we continue to make investments, whether we partner with the MIT AI Accelerator to do data-thon competitions to bring our airmen and guardians to solve some of the most challenging problem sets holistically in a hackathon type model, or partnering with the Air Force Institute of Technology to have a graduate certificate program in data science is one venue. But we've also really focused on bringing the right people into our department. So today, our United States Air Force Academy, we have cadets that now major in data science or minor in data science. Those cadets, when they come in and join our forces, will go into all different mission sets, both air and space, logistics, intelligence, et cetera. And that will create a whole new capability. But we've also really made a solid investment in trying to build an intern program. And so year one that I got here, we brought in the first data scientist as an intern into our department. He came back a year later and saw that the use case that he started on as an intern actually was in operations by the time he graduated a year later. And so giving our civilian and our airmen and guardian great meaningful work is probably the best retention tool I can give them, because it is really, they are empowered to make a difference. So as we look across priorities, these are things in terms of setting the foundation, evolving the workforce, always protecting our data. But it's really about us working together and really making sure that the team knows that it's not one bin or bucket. It's all of us working together with our colleagues across our department as a whole that really give us the acceleration for change. I like to tell people that if somebody told me when I took this job, it was going to all be about managing change and culture change, I probably would have said yes, but it is a whole new level of definition. That culture change piece is a critical piece moving forward. And now we've built certain foundational capabilities that we've built significant runways to take off and really to move forward and truly fly, accelerate that change. But I won't say that we don't have our challenges. As we mature out, we still have legacy systems, less than optimal architecture. And what I would like to say is siloed data. And really, we are changing that mantra and really working together to changing the conversation. Don't think about how do you use your data. I challenge my airman and my guardian, who are your data customers? Because many times if I'm building an HR system or I have data, a certain type of sensor data, that data can be leveraged by other organizations moving forward. You just have to make it visible, accessible, and trustworthy. And really building that trustworthy component to our change management piece is really the drive that we're on right now. In closing, I'd like to thank you for including me today. When I dialed in and I heard the gentleman before me, and he was talking about data in startups, and you can have a great idea, but you have to operationalize that vision. My team has been operationalizing that vision, and every day they make huge progress. And again, I am so honored to serve this amazing group of innovative, forward, smart airmen and guardians. And I'm just so excited about the future because they have set a whole new baseline for our organization. Thank you.
Very good, Eileen. Are we able to do the whole question technology all the way to the States? Yeah, great.
Is this on?
I'm still here. I can hear you.
That's good. Yep. We're currently wandering the floor looking for someone to ask a question, Eileen.
Hi, Eileen. Thank you very much for the talk. My name's Sam. I just wanted to kind of talk through, you talked about like the vault and the data jails as one of the challenges there. Obviously, the US Air Force has a lot of very, very sensitive data. Are there strategies that you've seen around publicizing the existence of that data and describing it before giving people access to the actual data itself?
Yes, I would say that in January 2019, the Foundations of Evidence-Based Policymaking Act was signed into law. I believe it's the 19th of January. But what part embedded in that particular statute is the concept around open data. Open where possible to be open. And so we're working with our military service personnel, both at Navy and Army, as well as DoD, to make available what can be made available, but also making sure that we can share the appropriate data with our partners and allies as we need to be able to do that. And so it's really about making sure that, you know, really have good foundational data management and having strong governance so that you are comfortable and confident in that sharing capability. So I do have to say that when I say data is a team sport, it's part of our team is our allied business partners. And so it is really important that we get this right so that they have confidence in us to make sure that we are all working towards the right mission goal set.
Thanks, Eileen. Joe Walsh here from the local government here in Canberra. Really fascinating talk and fantastic that you can join us from the other side of the world. Really fascinated to just ask about, you talked about the change management and the speed of change in particular in your organization, and you talked about sort of developing capabilities over 30 to 90 day windows. Now, I could be wrong, but when I think of the Air Force and the military, I think of very slow change, particularly, bringing on a new piece of air hardware, I would guess might be a 10-year or more process. So do you find your part of the organization to be a little bit out of step with the pace of change within the Air Force as a whole? And if so, how do you manage that?
Well, I think I'm pretty excited to be in the Department of the Air Force because our senior leadership wants to be at the speed of relevancy. So it is really about making sure that we're moving at that speed point. And so it's not just my office working at this level. I look at my CIO and my CMO, because if I'm talking about a digital service and a digital department, it's about making sure that all of the pieces are aligned and being synchronized with that acquisition track also is critical. So lining up all of the chess pieces to make sure that that we are really aligned together. And I think that's what's most exciting about the work that we're doing, because business as usual is not acceptable in our department. It's really about accelerating change and making it happen to support our airmen and guardian today. And the other, I think, really innovative concept is we have set up innovation cells across our department. The innovation cells in the Department of the Air Force is an AFWorks capability, and they've done a lot of really what I would say outside the box. How do we partner with industry better? How do we bring stuff in? How do we include the airmen and guardian at the grassroots level as part of that process? So I think it's really exciting, and it has totally changed. Today, when I talk about 100 days to do something, my team was like, well, that's slow. Okay, we need to do this faster. And I love that, because they are absolutely right. They're pushing themselves every single day to provide the best capability possible today. And the fact that we're all working together on that same message, and it is really coming through the whole strategic to tactical. Every person at every level is really driving that. I think is really, it's really exciting.
Please thank Eileen. And wish her a good evening. It's not quite sleep time yet, is it?
No, there's still probably a couple more things that I can dig out of my inbox before I wrap it up for the day, but this was definitely my highlight. So thank you all for letting me share this with you today.
Thank you very much, Eileen.
Good night. Good night.